5:30 a.m. My mother says a brief prayer. Hands are interlinked as I prepare myself to make the 43-kilometer commute from Thokoza to Sandton. 5:40 a.m. I feel the crisp morning breeze on my face. Index finger pointed downwards to signal to oncoming traffic. One taxi passes, then another, and another. And eventually, one stops. With my lunch bag and laptop bag, I quickly make my way into the taxi, right to the back, by the way. You know, I want to be at the back of the taxi. In South Africa, there is no hand manual for what I call taxi etiquette. First of all, no one teaches you whether you're supposed to point up or down when trying to signal to an oncoming taxi. Secondly, nothing quite prepares you for the amount of confidence that you need to say, "Before the robot, at full lung capacity, shall I add the golden rule? No big notes in the morning." And also remembering whether it was 100 Rand for 4 or two more 100. Well, all of that only comes with experience. 5:50 a.m. After shouting, "Before the robot," to signal my exit, I now begin to walk and make my way to the Natal Spray taxi rank, where I would be taking my second taxi. This one would be taking me to Sandton, said to be the richest square mile in Africa. Sandton isn't just a place, it's a world that you step into. There, the buildings are clothed with steel and glass. Ambition comes in every hue imaginable. You see it in the stitching of the suits on their way to client meetings and business engagements. It's in the tinted windows of the BMWs and the Mercedes-Benzes gliding down the streets. Sandton isn't just a place where people come to get their work done. It's a place where people arrive to claim a part of something that belongs to them. 6 a.m. Now, this marks my favorite part of any commute, the silence. It's after the random nudges and the back and forth of coins and notes being passed to the taxi driver. And depending on where I'm sitting that day, I might also catch a glimpse of the dim dashboard and the aged speedometer. It's in the silence where my eyes begin to wander. First, to the strangers beside me, often thinking, what stories do they carry? And what time did their alarm clocks have to ring? You know, from there on, I listened to the humming of the Toyota engine, Toyota Quantum, shall I add. 7 a.m. In the distance, the flickering of blue lights. Before you know it, on the outskirts of Sandton, we are stopped. The taxi driver rolls down his window. A few words are exchanged, and then a banknote passed from one hand to another. The traffic officer steps back, and the taxi proceeds. I remember asking myself, how did we get here? How did all of this become so normal? For other commuters, it's just an ordinary morning. No surprise, no drama. But for me, this wasn't normal. I realized that in that moment, those blue lights had become more than just about the traffic officers. Those blue lights had become a symbol, a mirror of everyday moral tests that we face. These blue light moments show up everywhere, in our schools, places of work, in our communities. As I sat there in that taxi, trying to make sense of it all, a remembrance came to mind, my own blue light moment. I was a first-year student and unfunded, the daughter of a police officer and primary school teacher. I found myself in this awkward space whereby I just wasn't poor enough to be eligible for NSFAS. NSFAS stands for the National Student Financial Aid Scheme. It is a South African government program that's designed to aid low and middle income students to further their tertiary education. One of the reoccurring recommendations or suggestions were, why don't you just say that you live with your grandmother or that distant relative? I mean, you could use that as support, and clearly you would be below the threshold. In that moment, I realized that I had a choice to make. Whether I would manipulate the facts of my reality to favor me and potentially become funded, or would I be honest and have to work and walk the riddled road of being an unfunded student, applying for endless bursaries, and navigating those rejection letters? When we choose to manipulate the facts of our reality, or should I say, when that taxi driver decides to slip that banknote, it might seem like a small decision. However, what do those folded notes become? A message. A message that this is how the system works. This is what survival looks like. This is the only way to get ahead. However, I've come to realize that it is those kind of actions, that kind of behavior, that shapes the world that we leave behind. Legacy isn't something that is established through grand gestures. It's the result of everyday decisions. 30 or 40 years from now, blue lights will probably still be blue, but what they represent depends on the choices that we make. So next time, when you face your own blue light moment, I want you to remember that every day is an opportunity to choose better. And each choice, whether seen or unseen, shapes the legacy that you leave behind. Thank you.